burning down the entire burn chamber on which the experiment is being conducted. And frankly, we say if it were that easy to burn a body almost wholly to powder, why do not crematorium operators, who after all are businessmen who need to make a profit during the service that they're providing the client, why don't they just take the cadaver that is brought to them, lay a lit cigarette on it, walk away, have lunch, come back a couple hours later, and they're going to find their customer, so to speak, is now a pile of dry powder, and they don't have to spend $120,000 on retorts and cremulators and fuel oil and natural gas and air filters and all that stuff.
Right.
The fact is they can't do that. So we really do believe there's a solid mystery here. When we've spoken to fire investigators, arson investigators around the world, we're amazed first about how few of them actually know that such a fire scene can exist. Most of them have never heard about this in the fire service training. And when we show them photographs of some of the classic cases that we've been able to research personally, they're just blown away. When we've spoken to the Los Angeles Fire Department, for example, we got words like bizarre, astonishing, and amazing, and awesome. They're unprepared to know that people can burn more thoroughly than can be accomplished in a crematorium's retort, and yet surrounding, as we said earlier, surrounding combustibles like hay, clothing, furniture, and so on, even sealing directly above the point of combustion that consumes the body, is almost wholly devoid of heat and flame damage.
Let me ask you, have you yourself actually seen, right up close, a human torso that has actually been the subject of spontaneous human combustion?
We have seen the aftermath once the fire scene has been cleaned up by the first responders. We have not yet been able to get to a fire scene quickly enough to actually see the ash and remains in situ. However, we have been to, as we said, fire scenes shortly after the initial cleanup is done, but before the fire scene has been significantly disturbed, other than having the ashes shoveled out of the fire scene itself. And we can attest that these fire scenes are incredibly astonishing, incredibly bizarre, and make no common sense whatsoever to the first responders, which is oftentimes how we find out about the more recent cases. They know of our research, and when we contact them, they say, "Larry, we're just bumfuddled. We do not understand this. Come on out, help us understand what's going on here." Which, as a researcher, we really value that kind of an opportunity, because we need facts, we need data to help us and others understand how these extreme human immolations can occur, how they can be explained, and hopefully someday how they can be prevented.
So how do these SHCs self-combust?
That's the $64,000 question. What causes SHC? In our book Ablaze, we explore more than 100 possible theories as to how this might be explained. We submit firmly that these fires cannot be explained conventionally by the human wick theory, unless, with this one qualifier, if there is a biological condition in a small percentage of the human population that makes their bodies highly flammable, much more so than is the general population, then maybe we can look at some kind of external ignition source that utterly consumes these people. That aside, then we need to look at something that is far beyond what mainstream fire science teaches its arson investigators and firefighters and first responders. Whether that leads us to explore new avenues in biochemistry in the body, or bioelectrical phenomena that would cause the body to immolate to the extreme extent that our research proves that can happen. Whether looking at geophysics, cosmic energies, other kinds of energies in the body that Western medicine does not yet recognize, such as Kundalini and Ki. All those, we believe, can be certainly seriously considered as possible causes to explain these human incinerations that we've documented in our book Ablaze.
Tell me, what is your fascination with SHC?
Initially, our fascination was that this appeared to be an unexplored, totally ignored phenomenon. Once we concluded that there really is a bona fide serious mystery, a serious anomaly, a real Fortean event here, The more we tried to gain understanding and talk with firefighting experts and were rebuffed, turned away, or simply told that we can't help you because we don't know anything about what you're asking about, it became all the more intriguing to us. When we met with a senior fire investigator in the city of Philadelphia, we had several cases that occurred generally in his jurisdiction, and he told us that he had no files to show us because what we were asking about simply doesn't happen. When we put photographs on his desk and explained to him the situations that existed when these photographs were taken and how the bodies had been consumed so wholly without the presence of an accelerant, we said to him, "You're the expert. You tell us as the expert in fire science how you would explain these fire scenes to us." His response to us, we shall never forget it, was this: "I'd go out, I'd get drunk, and I'd forget about it." When we have leading fire scientists take that kind of an attitude, throw that against us with an iconoclastic nature to begin with, then we're really intrigued and really captivated by what we believe is a true mystery here that is being ignored by mainstream fire science and mainstream medicine in general.
Have you been able to get samples of human ashes from these scenes and put them to any scientific testing? And if so, what have been your results?
We wish we could answer that affirmatively. We certainly have tried to do that. The problem is, oftentimes we do not find about the cases quickly enough in order to obtain, samples from the limb, the lower leg, the upper shoulder or arm that is left intact for analysis. The closest we've probably come to that occurred a year ago out in Oklahoma. In February of that year, a gentleman named Danny Van Zant died in a fire that certainly fit the concept, the definition, the criteria for spontaneous human combustion. We were in contact with the local fire authorities and the county sheriff almost immediately. By the time that we got out to Oklahoma to conduct our on-scene investigation with the department's full cooperation out there, the body clearly had been removed and was not available to us. But the rest of the fire scene was still intact. We were hoping to meet with the next of kin of the victim to, not only obtain information about his medical background, his history, but also obtain samples from inside the house, which is still obviously standing, given that this is a SHC-type fire. However, the next of kin adamantly refused our access to the property, and eventually we demanded that the local fire department burn the house to the ground in a controlled burn experiment. And even though the chief attempted to get samples for us before the controlled burn occurred, he was unable to do so because of scrutiny by the next of kin.
All right, stand by, Larry. You and I have to take our news break at the bottom of the hour. Larry E. Arnold is our guest this hour, X-Zone Nation. Parascience International is his organization. He is the director. Their website is www.parascience.com. We'll be back after the news. Don't go away. My name is Rob McConnell, and I would like to tell you about a very special lady that I have the pleasure of knowing, and that's Miss Sylvia Anthony. Sylvia Anthony believes the golden years are a time to gear up and get busy, not relax and take it easy. She has faced many hardships in her 84 years, but they have made her stronger and more determined. As founder and president of Sylvia's Haven, a shelter for women and their children near Boston, Sylvia has helped transform over 1,086 lives in the past 27 years, not only with housing, but also providing direction as to where they can go to develop the earning skills they want and need to live free from difficult domestic situations. Sylvia's Haven is everything to Sylvia Anthony, even calling it her magnificent obsession. Women who qualify for the program at Sylvia's Haven receive assistance via guidance counselors to find the appropriate job opportunity. Women and their children may remain at the housing for up to 2 years. At the end of this time, or sooner, a woman who is successfully employed and has an apartment or home may leave Sylvia's Haven to begin a new and independent life. Now this is where you come in to help make Sylvia's dream into a reality. Sylvia's dream is to have a Sylvia's Haven in every state to help as many women and their children as she can, and to help this dream come true. A crowdfunding site has been established which can be accessed at www.sylviasdream.org. Now that's www.sylviasdream.org. With your financial help and support, Sylvia Anthony will continue to help those in their time of need, not only in the Boston area, but with her dream of having a Sylvia's Haven in every state of the United States. Your help is needed to make Sylvia's dream come true. Please visit and give at www.sylviasdream.org. Once again, www.sylviasdream.org. And remember, the only difference between a dream and reality is just doing it. We need your help to make Sylvia's dream come true. Visit www.sylviasdream.org. Once again, www.sylviasdream.org. For the X Zone Radio TV show and the X Chronicles newspaper, I am Rob McConnell.
The following program may contain coarse language, violence, nudity, mature subject matter, or scenes which may not be suitable for all viewers. Viewer discretion is advised.
This is the X Zone Broadcast Network, broadcasting worldwide on broadcast affiliates and satellite program providers, including CNN Broadcast Network, Sirius Satellite Network, Star Media, Good News Radio Network, Angel Broadcast Network, Wiki Broadcast Network, and WPBN TV. For more information on the X Zone Broadcast Network, visit us at www.xzbn.net.
Welcome back, everyone. Larry E. Arnold is our guest this hour. His website is www.parascience.com. Larry, in your investigation into the spontaneous human combustion, have you been able to determine any common threads between all the victims?
The common thread is that all the victims are human.
That's it?
Beyond that, no. They do tend to be elderly. Mm-hmm. We do not find that particularly surprising. The human body tends to deteriorate with chronological experience, and we'll expect things as a person ages to go haywire biologically. That said, the youngest victim in the database is 6 weeks, a toddler in a crib. There is a possible set of cases from India last year in which the victim may have been only a few days of age, but we're not willing to, stake our reputation and research on that one yet. At the other extreme, the oldest in our database is a Hindu holy man said to be 114 years of age when he was found sitting in a lotus position on a straw mat with a blue-green flame, quote-unquote flame, emanating from the region of his solar plexus, his lower abdomen. And when the process had completed, he was said to have been consumed to powder, and yet the straw mat on which his body had been seated was itself untouched.
How many cases of SHC have you people in your database?
Repeat the question, please.
How many cases of spontaneous human combustion do you have in your database?
We're getting close to 500 now that fit the definition of the concept of spontaneous human combustion,
Mm-hmm.
which is quite a large number for a phenomenon that officially doesn't happen at all. Given that those cases span several hundred years, if not thousands of years, because even though, as we said earlier, the earliest medical report that we found dates from about 1470, if you look at the legends and mythology that the Romans, the Greeks, and others have left to us, we can find accounts in their traditions that certainly fit the definition of the concept of spontaneous human combustion. All that said, 500 cases, perhaps some more, divided by the number of people that have been alive over the last several hundred years means that this is an incredibly rare phenomenon. Have we found all the cases? Certainly not, because this, as we said earlier, is a phenomenon that oftentimes the local investigators either don't want to deal with, and so don't give us the information that would lead us to suspect that this is not a normal, conventional fire death, but something that's really extraordinary that is of interest to us.
Why do you think it's so necessary to investigate this phenomenon if it's a total rarity?